ring we stand tall, words of blades that never fall, debated warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. In the ring we stand tall, words of blades that never fall, debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean, spirited mind sharp and keen, with a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by law. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by law. Dive in deep and search for more. In the ring we stand tall, words of blades that never fall, debated warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. In the ring we stand tall, words of blades that never fall, debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean, spirited mind sharp and keen, with a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by law. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by law. Dive in deep and search for more. In the ring we stand tall, words are blades that never fall, debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean, spirited minds sharp and keen, with a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the vibrant lore. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side, we seek the light. In the dark, our minds ignite. Welcome to the sports in our arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Be heard. Will be heard. Will be heard. Will be heard.
Well, good evening, everyone. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. I've been sort of struggle streaming as of late. Coach, how am I coming through and all okay so far?
Your auto seems sort of low.
It seems kind of low. Okay,
Just
let me
so
see
you
if
might
I
have
can
to
move.
just hold your mic closer to your mouth when you speak.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Just I guess
All
when
right.
you
What about
speak,
this here?
that's louder. Yes,
Okay.
very loud.
How's this now?
That's good.
Okay,
That's good.
cool. All right, all right. Um, and some of these settings, I got the headphones in, so hopefully it's all good here. But again, welcome everyone certainly to the Next Gen Training. I'm Mr. Bennett, joined by my partner as always, the coach on the Sparta HQ Network. Make sure as you come in tonight, make sure you hit the like button. Certainly, it helps the algorithm. Consider becoming a subscriber, certainly to the Sparta HQ Network, bringing you content on several different nights, different topics, different insights to be learned on each channel here. So good to always share the stage with the coach. And as we do every week on the Next Gen Training, certainly want to do a mental check in. So, Coach, how are you doing with your pies?
Oh man, what's up, man? What's up, everybody in the chat, man? I finally figured out how to stream it to my channel, so hopefully, get some people stopping through. But man, my P, man, is physically, I'm getting better. Um, some health issues. I went to the doctor. I don't know if I mentioned last week. Got some results of some tests. They all came back pretty clean. But I guess I'm okay. Physically, intellectually, I'm just looking at other opportunities in my life. Just thinking about, uh, I still have a fire for coaching. So, I have an interview for a head girls basketball position coach
Oh, nice.
at a local high. Well, in the high school, I'm in Indiana, and the high school's in Kentucky, Louisville, but it's like 15 minutes from my house.
Hmm.
Um, Predominantly African American, high school. So I got a little presentation I'm gonna put together, man. Hopefully, what I'm saying, I get that position. I'm excited for it, but I'll wait and see. I'm trying to, yeah. But what I do, I guess, emotionally, I'm pretty relaxed. Well, I'm relaxed today, but I've been excited since I got the call for the interview, and they want me to present, similar to what we do. I have a slideshow put together. I have some demonstration drills that I'm gonna present, and I have a set of 10 questions that I'm gonna provide. It's for the team, but I'm gonna present it to the interviewers as if they were the players and have
Right.
them sort of go through it. But I'm excited about that. Spiritually, man, I'm connected to my wife, my family, my dogs. Preseason started really going into swing. So, I'm connected to that, man. Connected to see how, if I get the opportunity, if I can still change minds, man, change lives. So I'm excited with all that, man. I'm in.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, again, my pies are from another location. Again, I am back in Georgia. I actually, God willing, I fly back tomorrow, so I'm in for the weekend, and then I fly out again 6 a.m. Monday morning. So
Man, 6
certainly,
a.m.
yeah, yeah. So it's certainly my weekends get a lot more compacted. So there's only a few things I need to certainly do over that weekend. The first thing is just reconnecting with my wife and spending quality time with her, physical time with her. I won't go into more detail than that, but certainly, just connecting on all levels with her, making sure she's good. Also, this Sunday coming up, I need to take my daughter to the airport because
Hmm.
she is, she's off to medical school, and so that's going to be also a big change, big life change for her coming up. So physically, just trying to stay strong. Can't wait till I get home to get a feel real workout in. I mean, I can do in the hotel room. You can do some push ups. You can do a little something here, but I like getting into my training dungeon at home and really getting that work in. So definitely looking forward to that. Intellectually learning all the time. This trip was interesting because my boss got sick, and
Hmm.
so he never made it down to the site, and so a lot of the responsibilities, people were looking at me, to come up with solutions for. So I'm still thinking of ways to do things. So I'm being literally thrown into the fire, and so seeing if I can contribute without at least keep the plane going before he comes back, or they may have to reconsider some things later on as far as his health. Obviously, that's number one thing. So that's another thing, just appreciative for my health, and that I'm able to still do these things, keep the weight under control, and certainly spiritually, again, you gotta have a strong faith to do this. Certainly I'm very blessed with the support system that I do have. My wife is amazing, and so allow me to do what I need to do, and so yeah, so I'm just I'm good on all levels, and just trying to be of use, certainly not only here but also use in these spaces, and also to bring again positive content that people can learn from. And again, as we always say here, supermarket approach: take what you can use and discard the rest. Just because you see it, you don't have to buy it. But certainly, these are two bald opinions up here, trying to make a difference in not only just the young generation, but anybody who could benefit from this information. So tonight's topic, again, I want to also thank Coach again because he provides a lot of the content here. I just try to make it a little bit more palatable for consumption and for production. So what we're going to be talking about tonight is this idea of becoming unrecognizable. Basically, for doing things that wherever your current state is, how can you make yourself unrecognizable to yourself and to those around you? The way you move, the way you talk, the way you what your attitude is, to be different than where you are today. We had a show earlier in the week, and it's a lot of the content was somewhat based on things as they are. But my thing is, where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? How you want to grow in the future? And so, so this topic here, I think is going to be good. Some good pointers here on things that you can do. Take some control, small steps, and and bigger steps that you can do to take better control over your life, and to start doing things that hopefully become habits in your life, that again, to a point where people don't recognize you anymore, but in a good way, in a way that is positive, not a way that's regressive, and that you can start really becoming a major contributor, but as well as you feeling better about yourself, which is the most important thing. How you feel about yourself, who you are when you go to sleep at night, that's also important. So again, you being surprised by the changes that you were able to make, certainly in this time. So a 6 month plan, it could be 6 months, it could be 2 months, it could be 18 months. The bottom line is that when you want to do it. Some people have been working on these things for years and still haven't gotten past step two yet. So again, you also got to set a time goal on some of these things and stick to it. If anything else, I mean, anything that we've been sharing in these spaces, nothing's going to matter to you unless you start applying and holding yourself accountable to the person that you say that you want to be in life growing up. So But before we get into this, so what's your thoughts on this, Coach? Again, certainly you provided me the content for this, but if you want to go give a little background in terms of the context in which how you found this information and how you use this information in your circles.
It's just during, I would say, 2009, 2010. A young lady came to me from another organization wanting to put together, it was more of a 6 weeks suggestion initially, and just how to, ensure young people could sort of, I guess, navigate through, I guess, being a teenager, from understanding relationships, communication, you know, understanding financial literacy, understanding, I guess, scholastic information per se, different
Hmm.
subjects, finding interests, their strengths and weaknesses. And, that was the initial concept. And then it blossomed in something a little bit longer.
Hmm.
Of course,
Gotcha.
we said 6 weeks, but I think it went from October to May, because in Chicago, they get out of school in June. So
Right.
we had quite a few months to sort of just mine some of these things out. So just that. And then I took it and I went to another position at another job, and I had to sort of, and my clients then were all grown adults.
Hmm.
Some with, well, everybody had at least a felony or two.
Hmm.
So I
Okay.
had to just sort of just go from a high school mindset to an adult, went through life kind of concept. So yeah, just again, man, just being blessed enough to sort of try to recognize stuff like this that's needed, and how I can just, I guess, make it universal, not just men, women, young, old, sort of. And you have to tweak it, some languages and some things like that. But
Sure.
yeah, it's just always been my approach. Once I truly started working with disenfranchised people, you have to learn how to write court reports and present in court and all of these things. So I just took all of that and just sort of started navigating on how can I reach uh, people who may not have the understanding, or may not, may be a little bit naive to certain things, and how can I just present it in a way that is sort of unbiased,
Hmm.
not about how I feel. It's about what's best for the individual who's needing it. So yeah, just some of the ways I try to do it. And then over the years, I've sort of gotten, I think I've gotten better, but I don't know. You see me on YouTube, I guess my responses ain't always the most, I don't know, I guess in the most calming way, but I'm dealing with adults who've gone through some life,
Hmm.
not someone who's trying to navigate just being a teenager, and not having this best support system. So
Right.
my conversation would be totally different.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, that's all.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then to your point about the timeline, man, I think a lot of this also depends on again where you are, right? Everybody has a start. If you have a lot of things to certainly overcome, it may take you longer to get over those things, and so again, you have to always, again, there's no let's say fixed position that you have to be in, but it's not where you start. It's also in terms of how you finish. So just again, just take these points to heart, share these points with some people who can certainly benefit from these things. And, so we'll just kind of go through these here and just sort of talk about them as we go in there. So, again, as far as becoming unrecognizable, but again, like I said earlier, I think the person that you really want to be most unrecognizable to is yourself, to see the changes that you make and progress over time with. So, first one that we have here, let me get this thing up. Next slide. Here we go. So again, get sun daily. Be outside. I think that especially if you grow up in an urban area, if you have you're always indoors, you don't get out in the atmosphere, you're not getting that vitamin D, and that vitamin D has a studied effect on mood. That's why a lot of people it's recommended that, especially in winter months when you're not getting a lot of sun, is to take supplemental vitamin D. So again, it's been linked to depression and also impacts on your immune system. So again, getting out and getting some daily sun, hopefully not even with the sun, but also see some nature. But just get outside. You'd be surprised the effect that it has on your mood. But if you're always indoor looking at just walls and windows and buildings and not getting outside, certainly those are the things that can certainly build up over time. So yeah, so definitely sun exposure is important. Get out to see nature is also very important. So so talk about this one. What was going into this one? What made this the first point of your on your presentation?
I used to do a little exercise, man. I don't know. I don't know if I was. I think I might have been watching something on the History Channel or something, man. I get ideas from pretty much anything that I either see or do, or see someone else do. So, um, and just of course, in reading the importance of needing that vitamin D, and being outside as a kid, and how we were outside running and jumping from the time we wake up to the sun go down. That might have been what during the summer it's probably about what 9, 10 hours a day. You're
Yeah.
probably in and out the house jumping around. And I saw looking back, I guess about once I started coaching, I started seeing the importance of being able to, I guess, develop those motor skills and those, I guess, coping skills and communication skills. Because, when you're a bunch of 12, 13-year-olds and everybody's trying to be seen and heard, it just, I guess it just grows into itself on communication.
Mhm.
Being outside. I remember we used to be outside and there was no adults around, and we would have conversations almost like we were grown people. Like, yeah, when I grow up, it wasn't so much about being sports. I'm like, I'm gonna be this and I'm gonna be able to make this and fix this and I'm gonna live over here and I'm gonna cut my grass and just in those conversations, just being outside. And some days used to be what 104,
Mhm.
100 degrees outside. Nobody has no bottled water. You want some water, you got to find somebody spigot on the side of their house.
Mhm.
If they lived in a house, a lot of people lived in the projects and apartments. So, but when you had that opportunity, you just embraced it, man. And then my last thing, as I got, I guess, in the last 10 years, and I did some reading on how staring at the sun doesn't hurt you as it was presented.
Mhm.
And I've done exercises when I was did some coaching on some hot days. Sometimes I would give them the reasons for it, and and try to explain to them how it actually is a energy booster. I would have them stare at the sun for 5 or 10 minutes,
Mhm.
just relax their body, relax their mind, get everything out. And initially, it's you can't you just see the glare and the brightness, but after some point, after about 4 or 5 minutes, you can actually see the circle of the sun and the it's almost like, oh, I ain't know all that's but you can see sort of the flames of it, man, when you really tone into it on a good bright day. But
Mhm.
then once that you turn away, yes, I always recommend it, laying down on your back, closing your eyes. As soon as you turn away, close your eyes
Mhm.
and let that just sort of just sink through and sort of bring your vision back to normal.
Right.
And it would, I tried that. Well, I didn't say I tried. I do it early, and then I don't know if it was some mind. I guess I was playing some mind games in a sense, like it gives you energy. It's part of what you're born to be under the sun. That's why we got the big noses, and you know what I'm saying. So we can breathe in the sun, and that sun gives you energy. You just have to be able to channel it correctly.
Mhm.
Understand that not everything that we hear about what the earth is, it's not always true. Sometimes you have to experience the earth for itself to
Gotcha.
say, okay, I got a better understanding.
Gotcha. Very good. Very good. Next one here. Again, practice gratitude. Um, this is something that I'm definitely, and like I said, the crazy thing is like when I'm seeing with older people, I see more complaining about how bad things are rather than, again, Lily County budget. It sounds cliche when you say it, but just being grateful for the opportunities that you have, is something that is not lost on young people, and is certainly being lost on older people. I just don't, I'm really kind of disappointed that if I had one complaint about Gen X, that we're just, we just don't appreciate. We probably grew up in the greatest generation. Again, not to be biased, but we went through so many changes. We were coming out of the industrial age into the information age, and now we're into the social media age. We've gone through so many changes and so much different time, and we still here. And yet everyone complains about how bad things are. But I mean, we should certainly be grateful for the opportunities and the blessings that we've been able to see, the changes that we've been able to see over time, what the impact it had on our kids and whatnot. So I know I get all my girls on this all the time. It's like always be great. My wife, I just had to school her a few days ago over an opportunity that she was kind of dreading. But I'm saying, look, you're going to be one of the few people who are going to have this opportunity. So why are you dreading it? You use it as a think of it as a positive that now you'll be in a position that people better understand what you do and who you are. So don't look at it with dread, because again, if you take that into the meeting, into the event, your body. They say your body language speaks more than your words a lot of times. And
Hmm.
if you take that in, it's like you become someone that people do not want to be around. I cannot stand when again, a lot of times I've seen it just with my travel here. A lot of times we'll go to places that it's not like I go to these places a lot, but people complain about everything. The drink wasn't too good, or the food wasn't good, or the service was took too slow, or what have you. But the fact that again we get an opportunity, and again say that stuff until someone gets ill. Like I said, my boss he got ill. Say those things until you lose your health, and then you start having an understanding about how grateful you should be that you got here in one piece. Traveling from the north or wherever you're going to these different places and whatnot. So again, I just think just having that attitude all the time. Not to say that you're content with necessarily where you are, always looking to improve, as we talk about tonight. But gratitude is, I think, where everything else starts. I think a person who gets up on the wrong side of the bed, it just affects everything that they do, and they're not necessarily the most pleasant people to be around. So, what are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, man, I about 2000, I guess 2009. I went to a part of the program I was going to be working in the school. It was sort of like you probably see a little bit more now, but it's more of a man's self awareness. Like I guess it was a group, but it wasn't a typical group experience. It was a
Hmm.
weekend experience, but it was men from all walks of life, young, old, but all had different experiences about life, and it was more of a structured but allowed open communication. And in that communication, it focused a lot on self-reflection about your good, your bad, and your ugly, and your indifferent. And what I gained out of that is that I understand, and I've always been a person to understand that I've been great. I've been blessed to live the life that I have. And I've always appreciated every experience. I don't have any bad experiences about growing up. I have experiences even of my father, but his issues weren't mine, but
Right.
he gave me hard work mentality, respect. Man, if he found out you was being disrespectful, that was a death sentence in my family. He might not have said nothing to me all summer. except get out of the way of the TV, go get me something out of the kitchen, da da da, cut the grass, take out the trash. That's it. But if he found out that I was being disrespectful, oh my God, that was a death sentence. He would find me. And I think that's always been a part of me. And I'm grateful for everything that I've experienced. And since, and I'll say this, since that time, I've always been intentional about the previous year. What did I gain out of it? What was my experiences? Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. Did I meet people? Did I not meet people? And I've always been grateful for that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't know, man. And it's something that I would think that it should come natural to people. Just be grateful the fact that you experienced the worst of your life already. You're here.
Right. Right.
You know, so everything else, when I come to that space, then everything else that I do is based off my own decision making. And yeah, so I'm always grateful for any experience when I go any places of foreign, uh, whether it's stateside or abroad. I'm always going to be respectful, and I'm gonna be grateful for the fact that I've had the opportunity.
Correct.
So,
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, and again, we're going to get into this in some future slides, but I do think what you allow to come into you, I think certainly has a lot of impact in terms of that ability to be grateful because everyone is telling you how jacked up everything is. You know what I mean? So
yes,
if you just constantly getting that input that everything is wrong, then you oftentimes start taking on that same mindset, and you just start to perpetuate more again this negativity that's in the world. So we're going to talk about that. I believe the next one coming up here. You got to detach. I mean, turn stuff off. Turn the TV off. Turn the cell phone off. Get away from the stuff that's in your streams. Because again, we even know even from the algorithms, if you're constantly entertaining negative news, negative information, they just feed you more negative information. Or it can be, again, the people that you're around. We'll talk about that later as well. Sometimes you just gonna have to get away from some stuff. And don't just from the start of the day just start feeding your mind with all this negative. So again, in the mornings, we use that time in the morning to start your day off with a sense of gratitude versus saying, okay, what's in my feed? And start really, starting your day correctly. But I think a lot of people, it's like they're so attached to, these devices and the information that's coming through. You don't give yourself time to get away from some of that stuff. So your thoughts on this one, as far as, sometimes you just got to get away from stuff and turn stuff off.
oh man, I don't know, man. I guess this has probably been me, man, just most of my life. Um, and again, part of my unique about me is when I was coming up, I played two sports.
Right.
So I met friends from football and basketball, and there's people that know me for only basketball and only football. A lot of people didn't know I played both. The people that know me like from my young age, they know that I graduated high school playing both. So and I didn't have problems detaching from people who didn't align with me and wasn't again grateful, and I didn't hang around the disrespectful boys. I didn't do that. I could detach the first time we hang out and you disrespect me. And I'm not talking about, how we used to, joke on each other and have fun and, have a little dry sense of humor. No, I ain't talking about that. We can do that all day. But when you start getting like personal attacks and thinking you're going to try to bully me and take something of mine and talk about my mama, talking about your mama was like, you get ready to go to, you get ready to get put you going to get put on the chopping block at that point. But even the guys that I considered friends, we didn't go to that. And when I would see guys like that, I wouldn't even have to know their name. I wasn't gonna sit around with them and go through that whole, now they picking on me day. No, I didn't do that. So I didn't have problems detaching. And that's one thing when I was working with people, I used to say, listen, you come to a place where that person is now attacking your morale, is attacking you. So you have to find a way to detach from that. You have, even in relationships, it's just so much because you've gone through the pain, but look how the look how the pain is affecting you. It's not affecting the other person. So when you get to that space, you have to be willing to step away, be in your feelings for a little bit about it. Yes, it's going to be hurtful. It may shock your system for a little bit, but you'll be stronger in the end when you realize that you have the strength to sort
Mhm.
of separate yourself from people who are not bringing you positive energy in your life. So,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, so it could be people, it could be devices, anything that again, will sometimes you need to get away from all that. I think it's certainly very important. Next point here: replace replace TV with podcasts. Now, me personally, this is I was asking my family recently. I said this isn't a plug because we're on a podcast. So again, so this isn't self-serving per se, but I find 90% of what I watch is podcasts. I don't watch a lot of TV shows or series or whatever. Yeah, when sports is on, I watch a lot of sports. But other than that, I'm always looking to learn. We talk about, that intellectual piece. So I'm always looking to learn. I'm always looking for, for good information, how to improvement, videos I'm always sharing with people. So I find myself certainly more in this space as far as that mental engagement rather than just watching the latest, train wreck that's going on with somebody or some celebrity gossip news or something like that. But I like listening and watching real smart people able to have intelligent conversation. In fact, I was just listening to one a couple hours before the show. When I go on my drive going back to Jacksonville, that's probably what I'll have on. I mean, yeah, every once in a while I'll put some music on, but outside of that, it's yeah, I like the sort of podcasts, the sort of shows that really challenge and give a different perspective in terms of how to do things. So yeah, so television, obviously, there's a place for that, but certainly, what you consume. I think there's a lot more options of what you can consume on the internet. Now, the danger with that is, again, not all podcasts are made equal. So again, make sure that you're listening to or watching podcasts that again that build, that edify, that inform, that inspire. Not necessarily ones where it's just a free for all, where people are just going and just outwardly just disrespecting each other and doing the opposite of the things that we're talking about here. So again, so your thoughts on this one in particular, Coach?
Man, that's interesting, man. Replace TV with podcasts. Man, I think that's sort of happening anyway by default with me, especially over the
Mm,
last few years. I'm only a particular TV show type of guy.
mm,
It's crazy. Every night at 1 a.m., Sanford and Son comes on for 2 hours, and then Good Times come on after that.
yeah.
And it's like every time I watch them, I think of something else about life on how to sort of work through an issue of life. Like, even in the sarcasm of it, just being able to sometimes, what I'm saying, having, just, I don't know, just having an understanding that not everybody's life is the same, not everybody's journey is the same. But and on YouTube, you see it play out in real time.
Mm,
Not everybody didn't have it, you know what I'm saying? Because now you can communicate. Not everybody got the same upbringing. Not everybody relationship the same. They think, being married for a long time is like you weak if you married for 20 years. It's like, okay, so I use it as a reference to ensure that I don't own the negative of life. I don't own it. I use it because I can, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a person that I don't have to go through stuff to
Yeah.
learn from it.
Right.
I
Right.
can watch others how they react to it, and like, oh no, that's not good enough for me because I at least understand who my emotions are. I'm always going to be try to be even keel. Like I said on YouTube podcasts, I'm on here with grown people, and everybody's giving their opinion. Everybody's opinion trying to be right. So I may not always give the most humbling answer per se,
Mhm.
but in spaces where I know I have to be a leader, be unbiased, uh, then I'm not addressing it the same way. I'm always meticulous about every little dot and T has to be crossed. It may take me 20 minutes to explain something to somebody who doesn't understand life, and it might take me 5 minutes to explain to people that are older. So I don't know, man. I think it now it's a learning tool. Podcasts have been incorporated as a learning tool, whether good or bad.
Yeah.
So it's here to stay though. And I just hope everybody could find something within whatever podcast they tune into to help them elevate a sense. We
Yeah.
we, we you know what I'm saying? Because now you see it's a lot of finger pointing. Even if they didn't experience it, it's somebody else's fault. So
Exactly. That's it. Then it gets me also, and then you internalize like
yes,
this is. I was saying the other night, this isn't your fight even. I
right.
mean, but you getting all emotionally drawn into the drama that's out there. So again, so we talk about again detachment
Yes,
from content that's not good. Again, but like I said, even with the podcast, find some healthy podcasts that again inform, inspire, motivate versus those that just get your emotions all up in arms over stuff that's prior to you listening to it that wasn't even in your world. Now you think the whole world is operating like that. So again, it could be a negative when again what you're allowing into you is has so much bearing on your attitude and how you go about the world and your perspective that's out there. You think the world is falling apart, then yeah, how are you going to be motivated then to go and what are you going to do in the world if you think the world's falling apart? So again, definitely find content that builds you up and not just exacerbates or over exaggerates how quote unquote bad things are. Next point here, get it now. This one I got to work on. It's weird because I got it last night. I got 7 hours plus of sleep last night. The crazy thing was I still felt tired after getting the 7 hours of sleep. So it's almost like I'm usually a 5 6 hour sleep guy and I just function on that. But I got extra sleep. I got up at first of all, I got up early. I got up like at 4:30. And then it took me a minute to get back to sleep. And then when I got up, I was kind of lethargic a little bit. So again,
Mhm.
sometimes with me, there's a sweet spot where if I get too much sleep, I feel a bit lethargic over certain things. But 5 6, maybe 6.5, certainly I can, I guess I'm so used to that now that anything extra, you feel a little bit lazy when you do it. But certainly, being well rested, I think is certainly something that especially for your long term, memory cognition and things like that. I think it's important that you give your body that. So this is me taking my own advices of what I'm sharing here. I'm eating this one. That getting more sleep is certainly something I need to strive to do. But a lot of times you get so busy, and again, you don't want to. There's certain things that need to be done. I know, especially now, the fact that I'm away. When I come home, it's like from start to finish, it's just busy, because again, it's like I'm trying to get caught up with so many people, stuff that need to be done before I left, whether it be my long cut or whatever. There's just so many things that need to get done in a short period of time. And I'm like, and like I said, even when I was coming down on Monday morning, I didn't go to sleep that night. I
Mhm.
slept basically. I slept in the Uber ride. It was like an hour ride to the airport, and then I was in the airport for like about 2 hours because after you get through the security check and everything, and then I slept on the plane. So I tried to make up for it then, but sometimes I'm running around so much on the weekends that I don't want to rest too much, else I feel I may miss something. Which actually did happen one time. I actually overslept. I had a very early morning flight, but I let myself slip, and then my phone was set to sleep function. So I didn't get any notifications. So the Uber driver was calling me to take me to the airport. My alarms, nothing worked. And I just slept
Hmm.
through that thing because that was my body just saying, yeah, you need to take it easy. So I had to get another flight and get down there. So now I just don't allow myself to sleep just because I don't trust myself, certainly when I know I have to get up at such an early point of the morning of the day. But your thoughts on
Hmm.
sleep? How much do you get personally per night?
Brother
You
Bennett, I'm a big component of sleep, man. I'm not no lie.
Hmm.
And it all started probably when I was in high school. I used to go to bed tr- religiously 9:30 Monday through Thursday when I was in high school.
9:30? Wow.
Yes, the only day I stayed up late was during football season, Monday night football. That was it. Other than that, I was going to bed 9:30 Monday through Thursday. Weekend, I could stay out as long as I want to.
Mhm.
But during the week, my mother didn't have to worry about nothing. She knew 9:30. I'm probably asleep, hopefully by 9:30, unless I was
Right.
talking to my girlfriend. But
Right.
I've always been a big component of that. Even today, I wake up sometime. I woke up today at 3:30.
Oh my gosh. What time you go to sleep?
Probably about 4 a.m.
That's retired life right there, man.
So yeah, my days are 24 hours, and my wife works from home, so she may come in twice before noon to, hey, what you doing? Come here. You know what I'm saying? So she's breaking from the job, coming in there and jumping in bed with me and messing with me. And I might wake up 45 minutes and she'll be like, okay, I'll see you later. Then I'm like, okay, I'm right back to it.
Wow.
So, and that might happen 4 or 5 days a week. If I got to go take care of business, I get up, go take care of the business and do it like that because I go to base a lot,
Right.
about 30, 40 minutes. But yeah, man, sleep, man. Sleep is important, even to you, man. Now I'm going to speak to you because you're an Iron Man, man. You got that Iron Man mentality. However, you still got to get to sleep, brother. We ain't at that age where we can go work a 10-hour shift and go hang out and get 2 hours of sleep no more. At least 6 or 7. And I understand it's
I'm
difficult because you got a
Yeah,
lot
man.
going on.
That's
I
right. That's
understand
right.
that.
Like I
Even
said,
if,
I'm this is I'm convicting myself with this information. So anybody thinks,
okay.
oh, he's just preaching. This is me talking to myself as well. I know I need to get more in than what I'm getting. But I've always been one. The big thing for me. One, I'm a night owl. So you talk about going to bed at 9:30. I can't go to bed now. You remember back in the day, honeymooners came on at 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple came on at 11:30, and Star
Mm-hmm.
Trek came on at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't missing Star Trek. So that, I mean, ever since I was 7, 8, 9 years old, staying up. The hard part was, I guess, getting up if I had to get up. But you're cutting into my not only my prime time TV at the time, you're also cutting into my late night, which everybody, especially you in college, the whole dorm was up in somebody's room watching Star Trek at midnight. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's just something that's always been a part of me, just staying up late. I can, like I said, I can stay up late. I can function well until, like I said, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I can function up to that time. Now, if I can get to bed by 3 and sleep till 9, especially when I was working remotely. So I would go to bed sometimes at 3. I get up at 9. I'm logged on by 9:30. I got my 6.5 hours. I'm pretty good. If I need a nap midday or whatever, I could grab a 20-minute power nap, and then I'm good. So even on this trip here, there was some work I had to do. I would do a podcast, and a lot of times I would have to get off, and I'd have to do some work. The first night I got here, I was up until 3 a.m. Doing some work, and then I had to be at the site by 9. So yeah. So certainly I understand, certainly that need to get more sleep in, and to get more rest. Well, that is certainly one of the things that I'm working on to get more of. And like I said, when it's home, the message hasn't gotten out. You know what, Daddy's probably needs time to himself. It's like, Dad, I need you to go with me here. We need to do this or whatever. So I'm just it's kind of making up for lost time. But this is the season that I happen to be in. But again, the point has been noted that more sleep is certainly something. If I can strive for 7, but like I said, I got 7 plus. I got 7.5 yesterday, and I was still about 2:30. I was still nodding off. So
Mm.
So a lot of times, and that's what happens too. Like a lot of times on a holiday weekend, I may sleep in. By 5 o'clock, I feel very lethargic. It's like as if I haven't done anything all day. So again, I'm not. I can only do so much of that before it starts to feel kind of counterproductive. But yeah,
Hmm.
an extra hour of sleep per night, I think would surely do me a world of good. And I just need to know when to cut it off and to and to find that hour of sleep when I can. Now, some people again, some people going to disagree. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about you only need 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. So, so that's so again, a lot of people are going to have different opinions on this, but certainly making sure that you're rested so you can get out and do the things that you need to do. I think certainly those are things that are important. Um, but the next point here, meditate. Now, this is something I'm pretty good at. Meditate for at least 10 minutes daily. And again, this starts in the morning. So, again, combine this idea of meditation with that detachment. Put your phone down. Think about, now, again, meditation to me, I'm not saying you just go there and close your eyes and say, and that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. Or even your prayer life. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about either. But I mean, think about, put all these things into perspective. Count your blessings. Start with that. Think about your day. How do you want your day to go? How what kind of outcomes are you looking for? What are the things that you need to get done? Take inventory of those things that you need to get done. Spend that mental time at the start of the day, getting yourself together with the right attitude, with the right priorities, and the right mindset before you go out there and start doing things and start getting caught up in different activities that can get you totally off what your purpose is. So I think that 10 minutes to reflect, as Coach said earlier in the show, to really, again, level set the day before the day gets started, I think is a very important. It's oftentimes a skip step. But again, if you don't just do the first thing when you get up, don't just be racing to grab your phone and to catch your news feed. Make sure you, again, put yourself in the right mindset first and meditate on your blessings. If you might, some people get up and read scriptures or something like that ahead of time. Don't just read the scriptures, but then give some thought to what those scriptures meant. How can I apply this to my life? Can you think of a time when those scriptures could have been useful for you? That daily practice, I think, really helps to before you leave the door. And I think it definitely has an impact on the attitude that you carry with you throughout the course of the day. So, Coach, your thoughts on this one, on the meditative piece? This I do have a pretty good handle on. Sleep, I'm still working on, but this one I think I got down pretty good.
Man, I mean, man, I meditate all the time, brother Bennett.
You sleeping all you got a lot of
I
time.
mean, but even when I'm up, man, sometimes I may lie in bed, man, and just meditate and think about things about my life and things I need to do. It's so many, man. I talk to my mom sometime. I talk to my dad. You know, I don't know, man. I don't think people utilize this tool enough.
Mm,
Just going to a space in their mind where they can reflect on things and to be, I guess, to remove, to sort of navigate from I guess, the headspace or the situation that may not be conducive to their growth. And empathetic of their feelings. I think some people, again, just don't utilize it enough. They don't utilize it enough, and they miss. I don't know, man. I think as speaking for myself, and I can only speak from that, but being able to just go into a space of silence and just reflect and meditate on things that I can do to sort of solve my problems and just be better. I've been doing it, man. I can go back, man, just and not really fully understanding it, and looking back like, okay, that's what I was doing. Probably when
mm,
I was about 10 or 12.
right.
Just think, because I had a nice bedroom set growing. I used to lay in the bed and just think about stuff like I got to do this, I got to do that. Tomorrow when I go to school, I'm gonna do this and do that. And growing up, I've always sort of took that time out for myself. People. I don't think some people really value being alone.
Now we're
They
gonna
may
talk about
mistake it as being
we're gonna we're gonna
lonely,
we're gonna
but
talk about that one. We're gonna talk about
being
that one. So that
alone sometimes is beneficial to your mental capacity. So, and I'll just leave it right there. But
yeah. Now we can
another
go.
thing,
We can keep going because we're gonna get into that one shortly. But next one here, start a hobby that you enjoy.
yeah,
You know, again, you can get so busy in activities, but sometimes, again, part of that when you talk about that detachment can sometimes go into a hobby. Sometimes, again, that unplugging and doing something that again relaxes you, takes you away from that grind, something that is that gives you pleasure in that capacity. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, if you manage your time right. Again, the only thing you gotta be careful. Don't make your hobbies habits that can then be time stealers from you from again the important things that you're doing. But again, if you're starting your day out on the right practice, if you're taking care of those things that you know you need to take care of, again, save some time for whether it be an activity or spending time with people who matter to you, who put you in a good mood, who make sure that you're in a good headspace. But yeah, but there's nothing wrong with having some hobbies. Now, do you have any hobbies now that you employ, the things that you like to do besides sleep, that you like to engage in? Crossword puzzle, or you do something? I mean, what are you into?
I like little projects. Like, um, if I'm saying something, I'm just gonna pick up and start doing. Just randomly. No, I don't have that. But
Mhm.
I do like working with my hands. I like changing my own oils. I just did that on my BMW. I was surprised. Like, yeah, it was easy. It wasn't difficult at all. And just being able to do stuff with my hands, and I definitely take pride in just making sure the outside of my house is secure. Make sure the grass is cut, and ain't no debris in front of my house, and make sure my dog poop is up, and I I don't know the particular spray. I sort of bug proof it. I spray around it every few
Mhm.
weeks, and I like doing stuff like that now. That's why I'm trying to get back into coaching because I need to get it out of my head and pass it on to somebody that can use it. Who has years to practice it to
Yeah.
get better at it. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely pick up something you enjoy. But again, just try not to overdo it or again, don't make it a time steal at the same time. Give it some priority, but don't let it take over. Next one here, again, reading. Read 20 minutes a day. Again, it's important. Keep your mind stimulated. Learn something new every day. Learn about people, historic figures. Learn about again history. Learn about things that inform you. But again, I wouldn't necessarily say read everything. If reading about page one of the newspaper saying, okay, this one deleted this one, I don't know if that's necessarily a healthy intake. Or you're reading a lot of political stuff. Not sure how healthy that is, especially in this particular climate. But again, just like with the podcast, again, read something that is going to put something into you that is going to be positive. Maybe it will be scriptures, or maybe it will be something of an edifying nature. But don't just read to be reading. Be kind of selective about what you allow to get into here is very important. But yeah, start spending that time. I know some people. I know we had Catelli, who's oftentimes on the show. She's an avid reader. Some people just do that. Just it's just part of. They've always grown up with that. But certainly. And again, if you can't read, in terms of down, again, those podcasts, those audio books, that's another way you can get that information into you. If you don't have the time, or you feel you don't have the time to actually sit down with a physical book or an article or whatever, then again, those online resources, those audio based resources, Audible and all these other platforms, you can certainly use to get that kind of reading in. But how are you on this one? Are there particular books that you like to read, or are you a reader per se? Any certain titles that you like to get into?
Brother Ben, there's no one particular book or author that can say that I follow, but I am a big proponent again on reading material that could inspire me. I'm always trying to find books. I found this one book. It's called The Modern Man here by Cleo Stiller.
Hmm.
And it focuses on friendships, dating, parenting, work, and money. And I have some little pamphlets about, work and, uh, work ethic and finances and just communication. I found some of my best material in something real short, something that I know that I could sort of just grasp in the moment
Hmm.
and use it going forward.
Right.
And I've never been, like I said, I can't say, oh man, I'm a favorite. These my favorite. No, because I believe I can learn from everybody. I learn from you. I learn from like our pain, people that have the examples of what I'm trying to do or trying to be. I can learn from those people. And I don't get caught up in how you present it.
Right.
I listen to the message and not the message. Like I said, y'all ain't coming to me like my daddy was, because he ain't care about yeah. So everything else outside of that to me has always been sort of easy. Playing football, had some racist white coaches growing up.
Mm.
But all my black coaches were nice and mild tempered, and we won 95% of our games with them.
Right.
But when I got, so even on jobs, you know what I'm saying? I read the job description that I apply to. I read the work handbook that if it's something that I may have to experience at this job, I need to know my legal ramifications on
Yeah.
things. I need to know how to ensure that I take my vacation and so yeah, I just try to do and every day, yeah, I read something every day. I read Costco magazines. It doesn't matter, like I said, where it comes from. If I think it's interesting and it catches my eye, I'll read it.
Yeah.
I'll take the time to read it. So,
Yeah. 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 Me, I'm big on autobiographies. I like people when they open up and you may know them, especially as a public figure, but when they start opening about experiences and things that they
hmm
had, even past traumas and whatnot, how they overcame those things. Again, I'm always looking for those. I'm always looking for people who endured and came out pretty good on the other side of things. So I love autobiographies. I love history. Sometimes I don't necessarily get into a lot of opinion a lot of times because again, I find myself when I'm reading it, I'm arguing as I'm reading. I'm saying, no,
hmm
that's wrong. This is wrong. That's wrong. So again, I can barely get to the book because I see that there might be an agenda, something that they're pushing that I may not agree with. So again, I like things that are factual, informational, more so than anything. So again, I try to do that. And now with all this travel I'm doing, like I said, being stuck in the airport for several hours, that's the one thing it definitely gives me an opportunity to do is to read and get caught up on things that I need to get caught up on with that extra time. So I'm trying to utilize the time while I'm waiting and not just sitting idle. Next point here. Okay, eat unprocessed, nutritious foods. So again, that's a big one as well. Again, they say you are what you eat. Again, if you're eating a lot of unhealthy foods, okay, it can have a lot of impact on you biologically, which can also have an impact on you mentally. And so again, eating food that is good for the brain, it clears that is not we the show you guys did last week, which unfortunately I couldn't be on, but the show on inflammation. Again, eating unprocessed nutritious foods leads to lowering of inflammation in the body. And again, that can also have an impact on your mood, on your health overall, how you move, how groggy you are when you get up in the morning, the brain fog that you may have in the afternoon. So again, certainly look for foods that don't have a lot of junk, don't have a lot of sugar, don't have a lot of unhealthy or unnatural ingredients. Again, keep it simple. As I've said in the past, try to eat food with one ingredient in it as much as possible. And again, I think so fruits, nuts, whole eggs, meats, vegetables, fruits. You know, if you keep your diet in those areas, again, you're gonna feel better. Your body's gonna function a lot better, not having to take in substance. Be like, what's this? So certainly. If you're concerned about again weight management or whatnot, go back a couple shows. We talked about that on previous shows. Go back and watch those shows that we did on healthy weight management if you're trying to get those extra pounds off. Some things that you can do there. So coach, your thoughts on this one here in terms of the diet?
Oh man, like this right here, I would say, oh man, this is a unique one because I'm a stickler for vegetables, but I may eat some processed foods, and that could be grits. I don't know. I like grits. I don't know why,
Mm. I've
but
eaten a lot of grits since I've been here. I'm in the
okay,
South, so
yeah,
again, there's grits. I don't eat grits any other time. I don't buy grits. You won't find grits in my home. But
okay,
I'm in the South, so I put a little. I just get like maybe like a couple tablespoons of grits, and I mix it in with my eggs,
oh,
just to
okay,
have it. But it's just because I'm here. It's like okay, well they serving grits, so I have a little bit of grits. I try to lay off the breads and whatnot. But yeah,
yeah,
grits has certainly been introduced since I've been in this southern living that I'm in.
yeah, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not technically from the South, but I'm from below the Mason Dixon line, and I would say from 97, I mean, I'll say from 90 through 97, well, 2001, I stayed in the South, like Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, all of that. That was my stomping ground while I was in college, for sure, for
Mhm.
sure. And I picked up a lot of that culture as far as foods, how to make certain foods that I didn't grow up on. I was introduced to foods. My wife introduced me to pinto beans, and I love some pinto beans because they sweeter than I assumed that they were, with no sugar. Once they cook down and get that nice thick glaze on the bean, I'm
Mhm.
loving them.
Mhm.
Um, my wife doesn't eat a lot of processed foods. Uh, I made some chicken and rice again. I don't know if rice would be considered a processed food to me. I don't know why, but I made some
If you
baked
take
chicken
well,
and rice.
if you take the brown rice is relatively unprocessed, but you talk about white rice, yeah, they got to strip that husk off. So
Yeah,
when you say
so
it's processed food,
jasmine rice and all of that.
yeah,
Uh, I, yeah, I try to stay away from a lot of that. I eat salads a few times a month. Um, yeah, we don't buy a lot of processed foods. A lot of the foods that I buy are pretty, you're gonna have to put your ingredients together to get a result out of it. But
yeah,
there are some things like I said, and I buy rice for my dogs, so they
right,
get that. But my dogs also eat chicken livers and gizzards. They don't eat dog food. They don't even eat processed food.
right, yeah.
I stay away from
My
sodas
yeah,
and stuff
my
like
yeah,
that.
my
So
my yeah, my dog stopped very early. They was like, he wouldn't eat kibble, so we kind of got him on mostly. But even the doctor said you need to put a little dog food in, so we give him like a half and half. So we'll use some chicken or some fish, sometimes a little steak or whatever. But a lot of times we don't try to. He you give my dog some kibble, he gonna look at that. It's like what you trying
yeah,
to do. So
brother Bennett, I've only given my dogs chicken livers and rice since I've had dogs, and their coats are shambo, and all of them keep good weight. Never get it. You know what I'm saying? I don't might give them a snack. My dogs, they like cookies and snacks, and we use
mhm,
that. not Ames dog food, but that Pet Smart. Send a
Yeah.
blue bag out to look, and like a filler in between meals.
Right.
They'll eat
Yeah.
that. They'll
Yeah.
eat that. But
Yeah. For sure. For sure. All right. The next point here is now I'm going to add one because I actually I forgot one, so I'm going to mention that towards the end. But it's what you talked about earlier. Learn to be comfortable
yeah,
being alone. You know, that takes a self esteem, that takes an image. Now, some people are naturally introverted, but again, in that being an introvert, again, what are you thinking about in that time when you're by yourself? So again, taking that time to meditate, taking that time to read, taking that time to that I mean, certainly relationships are important. We get all that, but there's some people who are just not comfortable if they're not around people all the time. It can go in the other direction. So again, being by yourself is certainly a healthy retreat, a healthy detachment for some times. But again, I think it works in such a way where you be but comfortable by yourself so that you can even be better for the people around you. I think it serves a purpose. So again, you don't want to be isolated from everyone, but at the same time, if you define your sense of self by the people you surround yourself with, that's not necessarily good either. You need to find that sort of happy medium. Sometimes being there by yourself, being able to put your thoughts together, your ideas, your plans, dealing with your emotions or whatever. Sometimes doing that then helps you when you do come public. And so again, learning how to balance those two things out, I think is important. But your thoughts on that one?
yeah, man, you touched on it, man. Like I said, man, I've always enjoyed being alone. When I get time alone, I enjoy it. And I think it sort of developed. I don't know, man. When I was younger, man, I could sit in my room for hours and just, like I said, just meditate and think about stuff. And
Mhm.
when I got, older and went off to college, my roommate, he was hardly in the room. So I just kept with that. I never saw anything wrong with it. So yeah, and I don't think a lot of people value that being alone.
Yeah,
And they don't really understand some of the values of being alone. I think
yeah,
people are so wanting to, I guess, absorb attention from others and compare themselves to others based off their life's journey. So I don't know, man. Everybody's going to think about life differently. Um, Today, even I have my alone times, especially during the day. My wife's working till 5 o'clock, and we might come together and have a powerful connection for 15 minutes
mm,
and laugh and and show affection, and sometimes it might be an hour. Sometimes we might go, I guess, 10, 12 hours. We said, well, we might not have said a whole bunch,
mhm,
but I don't know, man. It's hard to, for me, I just know what works for me.
yeah,
And yeah, and I think people just underestimate the value of being alone. So
absolutely, absolutely. Next point, we got a couple more here to go through. Oh, this one I meant to put in. I did put it here initially. I didn't get a chance to get a graphic for it, but yeah, a consistent workout routine doesn't necessarily mean you need to join the gym or go to the gym every day. There's a lot of things you can certainly do in your own body weight exercise, but again, having a consistent routine. Again, the body was meant for physical activity, especially if you are a person you're in school all day. Or and again, you already see what they're doing in the gym class. Gym classes are basically you just kind of show up. You're not necessarily put through like a regiment. We talked about that the other night. If you go back at those '60s gym classes from the '60s, and they put those guys through the ringer. But certainly making sure that to be physically fit by consistent application of effort is certainly something that you need to work into your day, work into your routine. And I know, Coach, I know you've had a lifetime of physical training, for the various sports that you played. You talked about, you used to go do just push ups and sit ups and all different types of activities and whatnot. But even today, I know you talked about some of the health challenges and, things that have happened as of late. But I think this is for any age, have some level of activity daily. I started doing some more push ups in the room because, again, typically I'm only working out when I get home on Saturday, and it's like a total body and it wipes me out. I'm trying to break some of that up by doing some stuff in the room as well, and making sure that I stay on point with getting that work in. So your thoughts on this one? I think this has also been like a natural for you as far as a lifestyle for most of your life.
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, there's no lie, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I guess it started probably when I was in, I don't know. I guess I'll say this. I guess it just stemmed from growing up in the times that we did, being outside, school. When you had gym, you did constructive things in gym. You did push-ups. One of the biggest things that I knew I was pretty strong. Brother Benny, when you had to climb up that rope in gym to the
Yeah.
top, and to see the strength, looking back, like, man, everybody was sort of strong. Me, the girls could do it, the boys can do it, the kids that would be considered overweight could do it. So it just always stemmed to me from that. Then, as I get older, playing two sports, you're always exercising. I wanted to jump high, even though I wasn't the highest jumper. I wanted to be faster. Uh, Going to the military, of course, you're 9 o'clock, you done did 400 push-ups, 300 sit-ups, ran 6 miles, you know, getting out, going to college, you got access to gyms. I used to have like an hour and a half, 2 hours before class. I used to just work out in the weight room and, just do a little routine. And before I got married, I was probably, I was 15, 20 pounds lighter.
Hmm.
But then I was in my mid 40s too, and I had good shape. I was active, getting around and balling and hanging out. But once I got married, my wife can cook. Those foods started getting laid out on the table. Like, here, you hungry? Let me make you a plate. So yeah, I'm not consistent. I'm definitely not as consistent. Like I said, I did 46 push-ups the other day. Like, oh shit. No, I mean not the other day, but a couple weeks. I'm like, oh shit, I did 40. Yeah, I got 10 more to go.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say take advantage of it while you're young, because when we start getting up into our age, our workouts couldn't be consistent, but you have to be very careful on how you stress your muscles and your body out, because it's hard to recover from injuries in your 50s as it is in your 30s and even your 40s. But so
That
yeah,
is true. That's
salute
true.
to you, man. Salute to
I am
you.
happy. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I broke the 70 mark a couple of weeks ago. But last week, I guess getting home and whatnot, I only got up to about 55. So again, that
Oh,
fluctuates a little bit. So I need to work on that. I bust out this morning. I bust out 50. Just again, I had a few left, but I just wanted to kind of get that kind of going a little bit. So so we'll see what the weekend holds as far as my push-up performance. Then plus I like to do push-ups on the sort of those bars, so I get a little more stretch when I'm kind of going down and doing them. So yeah, I like that. Um, Next to the last slide. Okay, say positive affirmations again every day. Again, we start our days off watching or absorbing content that is oftentimes that is negative. That again, in your mind, you start thinking that the whole world is on fire. But what are you saying to yourself about how your day is going to go? So again, in your meditations, in that alone time, what are you saying to yourself? Are you saying to yourself, "Oh man, you're so stupid. That was so bad that you did," or are you talking about how you expect your day to go? I do expect success today. I do expect that we're going to move forward. That this day will be positive. good things are going to happen this day. I mean, what are you saying to yourself as your day goes on? I think, again, how you start out with. But again, I'm around a lot of people, like I said, on this project, and it's like you think that again, the world, that there's nothing right with the world, and at every opportunity, they're just telling you how just you know exasperated they are all the time, like nothing is going right. And sometimes I just kind of say, like, look, hold up. The fact that you're in this position means that, yeah, certain things have gone right for you. Embrace the struggle, embrace the challenges that you have every day, and be grateful for the opportunities that you had in the past to overcome them. So, again, let's start out with a more positive affirmation about yourself, about the world that you're in, about the people that you work with. Is everybody an a hole except you? I
Mhm.
mean, I don't think so. But again, so that what lenses are you looking at the world through? Start with some positives, or it's every day my life is so horrible. I don't believe that. And and certainly that's a peeve of mine. I try to stay away from that, but at the same time, there's something in me that wants to kind of correct it. My daughters, it's like with them, it's like everything is terrible. Everything's a fire with them,
Mhm.
and sometimes I got to tell them, no, it's not.
Mhm.
So again, this is something that really, again, your perspective, how you see things. Do you look at opportunities? Do you look at a chance to overcome some things, or are you just going to embrace everything is bad? So again, what you're saying to yourself, what you're saying about yourself, watch what you're saying about other people, because again, you don't know their story or what they may be going through. But if anything, just be grateful you're not in their situation. But it's a waste of time to be critical of other people as well. What is going on in your life that you need to address, and the things that certainly will make you better? I think that's where a lot of the emphasis needs to go. Your thoughts on this one?
I mean, man, yes. I've, I don't know, man. Like I said, looking back on my life, man, I spent a lot of time alone. And the one thing that I never did was put myself down.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest thing, I think probably one of the best qualities I have in coaching is I never allow my players to think about losing.
Mm.
I let them reflect on the loss, but I'm not practicing them to lose. I'm not telling them that, well, I know we practice hard this week, but, Brother Bennett's team is a little better, and we might know we practice hard. Let's go put our best foot forward. Whether we win or lose, we'll still be better
Mm-hmm.
because we got the experience. I've always had that mindset.
Yeah.
Even as a young kid, I used to tell kids, you can do it. You can. Let me show you how to do it. I remember always showing kids how to throw the football, because, and I'm talking about 10, 11, 12. I could always throw a football good.
Mm-hmm.
I had pretty nice sized hands and I could palm, I had a good grip because I was also taught to do fingertip push-ups. It's probably
Oh,
about
okay.
8 or 9 years old to
Wow.
do fingertip push-ups. One of Muhammad Ali's first trainers, excuse me, ran a rec center in my neighborhood.
Mm.
So it was a thing for all the young boys to come through there to learn how to box and position their arms, at least get your dukes up and throw a punch and things like that. And that was one of the exercises, do fingertip push-ups. So again, I've almost every job I've had to be in a position to encourage. And I think that was one of my biggest qualities looking back is that regardless of where headspace they came to me at, for the most part, they made phenomenal changes within 6 months, a year.
Yeah.
Last thing I shut up, the last high school I was at, young lady, senior. She wore black every day, Brother Bennett.
Mm.
Black every day. Black nails, black, and she always walked around like she was in the worst space ever. So one day I stopped in and I said, "Excuse me, young lady, come here." She gave, they give you that look like, "What you want with me?" Uh, you're not. I say, "This is not who you are." What do you mean? This is not who you are. I say, "Come and see me doing lunch. If you get time, and I'm trying to pressure you, but if da da da." And plus, she was had her grades. She was failing. Okay, cool. She stopped by one day. She just sat down in my chair. Just started looking at me. I said, "Oh, I'm glad you came because I don't never like, what you looking at me for? What you want?" "Hey, I'm glad you sit down. No, no, no. You want to talk about it now? You want to go over these grades?" And I bring up transcripts. Boom, bring them up. Boom. I'm looking at it. I'm like, "See, look, here we are. You got A's, D's. You got some D's, F's, cut 2 L's." Say, "What's going on?" "I just don't like nothing. I don't like school." "Why you don't like school?" I make them talk about it.
Hmm.
And from that day, I would say probably it was usually school started in August, from like end of September to like December. Now she's coming in every day.
Hmm.
Now she's talking, "Mr. Ferguson, Mr. Ferguson, Mr. Ferguson, what do you think about this?" Because I called her father too on the phone. I said, "Sir, I need you to support me with your child." "Yes, sir, I need you. Go ahead, whatever it take. I've been trying to." I said, "Sir, just tell me while she's here with me that you will allow me to support you." "Yes, sure. Cool." Boom. Now you see, I'm gonna work with him to ensure you're the best. And man, the growth that I could see students, and it wasn't just her, it was, I would probably say, on average, Mr. Bennett, on a day, about 30, 40 students would come and see me.
Wow.
And I'm talking about, it was just amazing. And I've always had to give them the information about, okay, yes, you in this space. It ain't gonna last long. You better than this. This ain't who you are. This is just part of life. And just to see those changes, especially young, being young, learning to embrace themselves, love themselves. Because some of my clients were LGBTQ, and they would definitely come talk to me before they talk to anybody. I used to be like, "Why y'all talking to me?" "Well, Mr. Ferguson, you be honest and you be real, and you don't be telling us that we bad and we, you know how kids talk. You say we can do it, even though I don't believe it because life is hard. Yeah, yeah. But you don't seem like you looking at us like things are bad." So I'm like, cool, I can live with that. And yeah, I think everybody, if once you, it's okay. I'm trying to say this. It's hard for somebody to see the goodness that they have
Hmm.
until they get people telling them that they are good. So, and I'll leave it right there.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, not only but I think where it really kicks in is when you start saying to yourself, I'm glad that they had you certainly to help and to reaffirm who they were, but when they started to embrace it, I think that's really where the real change came when they stopped accepting what was being said about them or the things that they
Hmm.
were coming out of their mouth about themselves. When they started embracing again the positive, I think that's really when it kind of sets in. You know that your work is falling on good ground when they start to embrace what is that what you're saying. But the last point of the night, and we'll look to wrap up the show. Again, as you said earlier, distance yourself from toxic people in toxic environments. So we can't stress this enough. Toxic content, whether it be on YouTube, on your phones, in the daily newspaper, whatever it is you read, and the people who again, you got that toxic woman in your life. Maybe she needs to be the one to go, and vice versa. If that man isn't, certainly being a positive to you, maybe that needs to go as well. Again, distance yourself, from those people that again are always going to try to bring you down. Get with people who edify and keep it, they're going to keep it 100. They're not going to sugarcoat everything. They're going to keep it real with you. But again, it's always about, come on, let's get to the next level together. Those are the people that you want to be around. But again, people who drain your life force, drain your energy, are people you definitely want to avoid. And so yeah, so this one here, certainly, why you're going to look different. Sometimes it's the people who you hanging out with are different. and people start looking at you, or the fact that you're making these changes. Now, again, the crazy thing is, coach, sometimes you don't know you're in a toxic environment or around toxic people because, again, you're emulating the same behavior they are. Now, once you start stepping out, once you start saying, nah, man, I'm not doing that today, I'm going to do this,
That's true.
then they start looking at you like, what? What's wrong with you? And
Yes.
now you become the problem because they can't handle the fact that you're going in a different direction. Now, come on, let's get into this. And said, no, I'm not doing that today. Nah, I don't want that drink today. Nah, I don't want to eat that food that was there before. Now they start trying to make you look bad. So again, so it's really it's not it's you by doing a lot of these things, you'll know for the first time what's bad for you. I think for some people, when they try to eat healthy food for the first time, so I remember this. It's like when people don't know how to eat. I know there was a woman today. Her lunch was uh Lunchables,
Mm-mm.
like the kid. This is a grown woman. Lunchables and some sort of cake, sweet or something like that. I'm like, this is a kid's meal. You know what I mean? And sometimes if you give them that healthy food, they're like, "Ooh, I don't like that," because again, it goes against their body's kind of wired to that particular type of food. And so again, but if you consistently start eating better, and you'll start to feel better to the point where if you do try to go back and eat some of that stuff, you're like, whoa, this is just messing with me. So it's a lot of times it's just a transfer of environment. But again, you won't know that what you're eating is bad until you have something that's good. And you stay with it good enough so that you know when you go back to that thing. I'm not saying, yeah, you can go back to it every once in a while, but the fact that you're not eating it on a regular basis, that your body has switched its fuel source to something else, then you'll realize you can't go back to those other foods, or that you don't want those things as much, or that you don't need as much of those other foods to satisfy you. So again, so that's ultimately what tends to happen. You make these changes, you become unrecognizable to the people who you were hanging out with, and that oftentimes is what brings the toxic reactions to you up. So yeah, so separate yourself from that. Not everybody's meant to be in your life at all time. If you have lifelong friends, that's a blessing. Appreciate that. But certain people come into your life for a reason. Some people come into your life for a season. And so understand and recognize when you start moving in another direction. Also check them in terms of how they respond to you. Now, your true friends, they're not going to clown you because you trying to do something better. They're not going to clown you because you're trying to improve yourself. But those other people, they want to keep you right where you are. And those are the people you got to be mindful of. So, Coach, you can call up at this last point, and we can certainly wind down this. We can wind down the show.
Brother, man, everything you said, man, spot on, man. And like I said, man, I just sort of been able to navigate through that, man. I knew I had to answer to my father and my mother. I
Hmm.
don't want to dismiss her, because I know they talked to me about responsibility and being accountable. Especially when I was out in the community, I was always cautious on who I associated myself with. All of my friends, we had similar hobbies. I mean, I guess we participated in similar hobbies.
Right.
It wasn't about hanging out on the block and, I guess offending people and mistreating people and disrespecting people, places, and things. I've never been associated with those type of people. But yeah, man, I think, and even with my son, man, I always told him, man, respect people, respect places that you go, respect the things that you are blessed to be able to do. You know, I'm big on saying we go on a field trip to the zoo. You're not going to walk around complaining about the zoo the whole time. You're going to embrace the zoo. You're gonna learn about the animals. You're gonna understand habits. You're gonna it just just an example, but I think out of all of these slides together, if we had that audience, like we know we're going to get an audience of the same people every day, every slide that we touched on today would resonate with at least one person,
Yeah,
every slide. And I think that, I appreciate the fact that it's not about now. It's sort of about the future and the information that's coming out from us. So I appreciate that.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, again, hopefully, from what we presented tonight, hopefully this will be information that you can use. Maybe some of you are already on your journey to becoming unrecognizable, and that you're putting in the work to continue to become unrecognizable. Certainly to those, again, the negatives that were in your life, and hopefully you'll take this information and and just look to improve. If you're weak in one area, keep working on it. But the idea is, again, always be improving at any level. Stop complaining about what you don't have. Be grateful and appreciate what you do have and the direction that you're going in. Not just think that as long as you keep that attitude, then more blessings, more abundance will come into your life when you start to apply these things. So again, we want to thank you guys certainly for being with us tonight on this show here. Again, I'm going to be remote for several more weeks. So you're going to continue to see me in this format. I got to try to see if I can get more brightness in this room. These rooms, they're nice rooms, but they're very dark. I'm at a work desk. I got lights on all over, and I'm still coming out like I'm kind of washed out over here. So again, we'll continue to try to improve that.
On
Both
my end, you look pretty good, brother Benny. I can see everything. I
yeah,
can even
everything.
see the
Yeah, I just look.
pictures in the back.
I just look very dark, at least on my view. But hopefully you guys are seeing that. I'll watch the replay and see maybe it's a difference there. But certainly appreciate these spaces. So again, I'll be continuing to come with you guys remote, and certainly as I pick up experiences here, I'll certainly share them in these spaces. Make sure before you leave the show tonight, make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Consider becoming a member if you're not already a member to the Sparta HQ network. Certainly Sparta's away enjoying himself. Hopefully he's having a good time. And also tune in to the Sparta HQ network this Saturday. Going to be talking about Superman, the movie franchise. So again, the official real Superman franchise over the years. We're going to be chopping that up on the Hangout show. So make sure you come back for that. Let's have some, let's chop that up a little bit. And but yeah, certainly just stay tuned for more activity on this network and on the platforms. Also, make sure you go over and give some love to Coach and on his platform. He's certainly a content creator. He's building a lot of content. He's simulcasting this broadcast over there. Consider dropping over to Coach's channel. And Coach, make sure that you plug and drop your channel in the links so people can go there and certainly follow some of the things that you're doing on your end. But make sure show him some love too. Drop a like or whatever, a comment on his platforms. Certainly to help him out as well. But with that, again, one thanks to our guy David, who's in the back. He's been running the show tonight. Appreciate you everything that you do for the Sparta channel, and certainly looking forward to another show in the near future. So for myself, Mr. Bennett, with my partner here, Coach Ferg, we're two bald opinions, giving our views on all things life, on all those levels, those physical, the pies, the physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. Always be improving. Always try to do your best. So until next time, take care. God bless, and we'll see you next time. Good night.